Colleen Connor of Audio Description Training Retreats and Blind Inspiration Cast, and you are listening to Audio Description Narrators of America, Know Your Narrator series.
With Rondez Green. Rondez is a professional narrator and a game commentary. I can't wait to talk to you, Rondez. Thanks for joining us today.
Appreciate you having me on the show. I tune into the ADNA podcast all the time, and you got some great people on here, so it's interesting to be on the other side of it.
Yeah, let's start with what you love about audio description.
I think audio description is it's an incredible feature that gives access to video content to everyone around the world, right? And who wouldn't want that? It's something that's a net positive for you and everyone you know. And there are plenty of voice talents out there willing to be a part of it, myself included. And I think it's just an incredible thing to make sure that everyone is seeing the same thing as well as they can.
I love how you say that everyone's seeing the same thing as well as they can. I've never heard that explanation for audio description before.
I try to tell my friends about it because I honestly think the narration just makes a lot of shows, pretty much all of them, just better for me personally. And I would love to, I'm a big advocate for this feature, and I would love for more people to catch on to it.
Well, can you talk a little bit about your experience when you're giving commentary for a game? It seems like you said that there's some similarities and some differences.
Right. So I guess as a brief overview to some of my experience within the gaming industry, I've most closely worked with companies such as Activision Blizzard for their titles, Call of Duty, worked with other titles as well. But my job as a commentator is I go to these conventions, which of course we can't do a whole lot of now because of COVID. I go to these conventions. It's very much like a live sports broadcast. If you've watched an NFL game or an MLB game, it's very similar, the layout in terms of sponsors and cards and graphics coming up on screen. Where I come in is as the commentator, and as a color commentator, I'm the one painting a picture and describing and explaining everything that's on screen. So in my professional training that they had given me at these conventions and at these events, I was very clearly instructed, make sure that the way that you're presenting this on screen will make sense to someone that might not even be able to look at the screen at all. I'm supposed to paint a complete visual image of what's happening as it's happening.
Total sync up there with audio description. You know, obviously on the video game, especially with all the detailed graphics and other elements, do you find yourself adapting to specifically talking about the visuals and not explaining what's happening with the audio cues, or do those kind of spill in together sometimes?
Well, I have a co-commentator, right? So in these, you have at least one other person that might be speaking with you, at least during the games. Of course, we have our own segments in between them. So whatever I might miss, the other commentator picks up. It's like a conversation. We're trying to make sure that everyone is getting the story and that you can tune into it like an audio drama or a radio broadcast, right?
And you're also a user of audio description. Can you talk a little bit about what you see happening in audio description that you really like, and maybe some places where you'd like to see it go?
Yeah, I mean, audio description is just, it's this thing, audio description narration. We have the means to make video content accessible to everyone in the world, and I think that we should be all over it. We see it in museums. You're seeing it at movie theaters. The law in America is slowly catching up with the needs of its people, and we're seeing a lot of great things come from it. So I would just love to see this everywhere. ATMs are, it's all over the place.
So when it comes to your commentating on the games, whether you're working with someone or maybe even if you're by yourself, are there certain things that you've found start to happen just by doing it over and over again, or did it come to you naturally right out the gate?
Part of it came to me naturally right out of the gate, but when you're speaking to large online and in-person audiences at these conventions, there's a lot of stuff that you're not used to. I'm not used to speaking to large crowds of people, or when I'm finished, I check my social media and I've got hundreds of tweets of people that are mostly happy with what I've done. But, there are some angry people on the internet. So it was definitely something that, for the most part, it felt pretty natural. I like speaking in public. I like using my voice in any way that I can, especially in an art form. But yeah, that took some transitioning.
And it sounds like some of that feedback has actually been helpful. Obviously, you need to ignore some of the trolls, but was there something that you were getting from the audience? It's like, oh, hey, cool, I can start doing that a little more, or maybe I need to stop doing this, or was any of that feedback useful for you?
Well, when I first started, the most important thing was I need to make sure I have pronunciations down before I go into any sort of content creation, whether it's, like an event like this or any sort of shoulder content that we're creating. I want to make sure that I know how to say every word that is going to be in there. And that not only helps you build your vocabulary, but you upset a lot less people that are trying to listen to the broadcast.
Yeah, the similarities are just so consistent, it seems like, with audio description and what you do. And obviously, as a professional narrator, you've also voiced some projects as well.
Right. Working with audiobooks and just different shows and audio dramas. There's a lot of different options out there for people for voice talent, and it's good to be a part of them.
What else would you like to share with our audiences?
A quick background on myself. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I am a voice talent taking part in audiobook narration, audio description, video game commentary. I have a great passion for being able to use my voice and make something that results in a happy end user, a happy viewer. People, when they're watching video games or even for a game that they like, it's just much better when you have someone else talking to you about it or you're talking with someone about it. Of course, when blind or low vision people are watching film or attending a museum or anything like that, it's much better for them to be able to understand what is happening visually in front of them. I find it of great importance to be able to provide that for people. That's what I think. I actually did want to bring something up about public speaking and different things that I've had to, just the training that I've had to have for these events and conventions and everything. The people of Activision Blizzard, they really did not hold back at all on getting us the proper guidance and professionals that we needed within our production. So we worked directly with some of the production members and crew members from the NFL. I've had experiences of vocal coaches in the past helping me with my pronunciation, those S's and those pops and just everything. There's so much more that goes into the linguistics of it when you're speaking in public. And I got to say, just a big shout out to Activision Blizzard for providing that for us behind the scenes. It was a huge help. And I've tuned into some of your podcasts here on the ADNA podcast for some of your previous members, and I was really interested to hear about their professional experiences and how they, like me and lots of other voice talent, maybe got experience from vocal coaches, from live theater, and it's just really interesting to see how connected all of these different talents are, despite belonging to different industries.
A lot of people think of audio description as, it's a service for blind people, which it is, but they stop there. And one thing that I'm really appreciating in interviewing everyone is getting into some of those deep dives and being able to have the luxury of time to be able to say, okay, well, where'd you come from? What works for you? And how do you approach this work? And it's beyond the narrator, that, the people that are writing, the people that are doing the engineering, and many other decision makers, that each of them contributes to this work to make it better and to provide quality and excellence in a way that's beyond just checking a box. So your example with Activision Blizzard is even reinforcing this. The companies really do care, and they do want to provide the best, because when it comes down to it, from their perspective, economically speaking, they want customers. And to get customers, you have to bring the best.
Exactly. And you made this thing. Don't you want people to see it? Don't you want everyone to have access to it? I'm really happy that in Maryland, we have people like Joel Snyder, who I believe you've spoken to before on the show, trying to distribute audio description content to people. And I just think that that's an awesome thing to do.
How can we follow you on social media?
So you can follow me on my Twitter. It's Rondez Fox. I have a website for anyone that might be interested that's there as well, rondezgreen.com. And I have a YouTube channel where I have a podcast, and I'm usually just pretty active on my Twitter account. That's usually the best hub as to what's going on with me at the moment.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Rondez. It's been great to hear from you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.